Hey everyone, my name is Jeremiah Kurkowski, and this is the Grow Your Life podcast, where we talk about ways for you to reach your goals, grow in your mindset, and strategies to get more results in your business. I call it Grow Your Life because if you grow in a business, it impacts your life. But for you to grow in your business, you have to grow in your life, and it all works together hand in hand. If you're not in the hashtag Grow Your Life Facebook group, I want to invite you to join that group. We just had a great group coaching call this week. It was about an hour long, where I answered people's questions and we worked through a topic that is directly related to this podcast right here. We talked about the root issue of why people struggle with connecting with their target customer in a way that produces sales. Now, I want to continue that discussion to help you know how to unlock this, how to reach your target customer and communicate and connect in a way that works and gets results. Just to condense it a little bit for you, we found that a lot of times people's confidence levels in what they can deliver and what they can put out there and what they can do is the number one thing that affects their sales copy, their emails, their work, their social media. All of that is their belief in themselves. And ultimately, if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to be able to sell anything to anybody. It's true. You literally cannot sell anything online if you don't believe that it's possible for you to do so. I've seen so many people that don't believe they can, or they're just trying this thing out. They spin around trying and struggling and hoping that it works and then wondering why it didn't work. Well, it's because of that little inkling, tiny lack of belief that it's actually possible for you. And so you have to have deep inside of you that belief. It can't just be up here, my friends. By the way, belief is not merely head knowledge. It is a connection between heart and head. It is not just what you know, but what you experience deep inside of you. And so that belief level in what you're putting out there has to resonate out of your entire body when you're selling, when you're writing, when you're communicating. And so if you don't have that level of belief in yourself, I want to invite you to check out some of the other past episodes of this podcast to help you grow in the belief of what is possible for you. This last week, I did an episode on July 13th, episode number 68, Getting Back Up Again After You're Knocked Down. And this is going to help you realize this number one truth. I'm going to give it to you. You are good enough for the dreams that you have. You are good enough right now in this moment in time, not someday off in the future, to go after your dreams, to go after the vision that you have. Now, your life may not be manifesting that in what you see in front of you. That is why belief is so important. It has to start up here and in the heart. We have to write it down on a piece of paper. We have to visualize it and see it in our mind's eye and know that we know that nobody, no opinion of anybody, even our own opinion, can convince us that it's just a fantasy, that it is just a dream, that it is just something that we wonder if we could do. When I go out there and do business, when I coach a client, when I make a product, when I make a podcast, I don't think that I can do it. I don't. I actually leave this state of thinking and enter into a state of knowing. And knowledge is not merely just the information that we can regurgitate. Knowledge comes by experience, not merely lip service and words, but by what we can manifest and impart to others. Okay? And so your belief level of what you bring to the table when you are marketing, selling, trying to reach and create profit-producing conversations, that energy is projected into every single situation. You have to come to the table knowing that you're the best possibility for the person that you are interacting with to reach their goals. Knowing that when somebody meets you, you can get them the result that you promise every single time. And that belief level is what we have to develop inside of us. And so I think that podcast episode will really help you with that, growing in your belief. Another one is episode number 67, what to do if you don't know what to do next. Number 66, powerful tips to thrive out of imposter syndrome. I'm telling you, these 3 episodes are designed specifically to increase your level of belief in yourself so that then when you go and you make a product, when you make an advertisement, when you make a social media post, that energy of I know that I can deliver on what I promise my customers comes across because we've established and built trust with ourselves by keeping the promises that we make to ourselves, by staying disciplined on the path that we are going after. You know, many of us say, I don't have enough time in the day to do all the things that I want to do. I don't have enough time in the day to accomplish everything that I want to go after in life. And it's because we are so focused on clock time. We're so focused on what we didn't do, what we didn't accomplish, what we didn't make happen, and then our goal becomes trying to avoid repeating that pattern instead of how can I create the future out of thin air? Speak it into existence, which is half the equation, and then make decisions to take action. And so, again, those past episodes, they are a deep dive into that topic. If you haven't listened to them yet, episodes 66, 67, and 68 is really going to help you with that. And the group coaching call that's in the Grow Your Life group. Now, what I want to talk about today is for those of you that do have that high belief level, that you know that you can accomplish it, that you can reach your goals. If you're somebody like me, before I was reaching my goals like I am now, you've had a track record in your life of winning, of going to the top, of being promoted, of being recognized for your skill. Maybe you haven't been recognized for your skill, but you know your skill inside of you, and the rest of the world hasn't recognized it yet. That's another kind of related thing to that. But you have confidence in what you're doing. That's who I want to talk to today. And you are my kind of people because you have a vision, you have a plan, you know where you're going, you know what you want to go after, but you just want a step-by-step formula to get there. And that's what I'm going to give you today, is that step-by-step to get from just merely confident to producing results, to getting the results that you know are possible. Many times when we have that level of confidence, now we deal with another issue, and it can flip-flop too, by the way. You can go from imposter syndrome to ultra confident, and you have a level of pride. And really, imposter syndrome and all of that kind of is a sneaky form of pride, a little bit. Is this belief that I have to do everything perfectly because that's how I always do it. Stick with me for a second here. Is when we are so afraid of appearing prideful, we are actually being prideful because we don't want to look that way. We don't want to appear bad. And so we have this level of pride in who we are, how we look, and we're so focused on our appearance that when we put our best foot forward, we're actually shrinking back just a little bit. Okay? So there's that one side of it. Now there's another side of it too that is a little bit deeper, but it's very related. You know that you're somebody that's successful, but you just need to get the right sauce for it, the right formula, the right step-by-step. You know that if you had the right formula, man, you could crush it. But you're waiting until you get that formula. And so these two types of people, I want to encourage you in this. Actively pursue the thing that you need to get to. What do I mean by that? If you're somebody that wants a step-by-step formula to reach your goals, you need to actively pursue it. Not just wait until you find it, but do the work to research, to learn, to ask questions, to get to know and learn what you don't know right now. And if you're somebody that maybe you struggled with a little bit of a sense of pride, you kind of know what you can do, then you shrink back. This comes from we have to end the cycle of our identity being tied to our performance. and that's a pretty deep topic, that we tie our worth to how good we do if we are doing all the right things. And this process is something that we have to actively pursue growing in, actively pursue the personal growth process of. Whenever I talk with people, whenever I'm coaching with people, this often comes up. I work with a lot of high performance people. And if they're not high performance yet, they have been at some point in their life in another area that's not related to what I'm working with them on. But they still know how to get results. They know how to buckle down, double down, do the work when they need to. And if you're somebody listening to this right now, I have confidence that you are somebody that does. But maybe you've been waiting until you are just a little bit less prideful, or you have just a little more clout, just a little more experience, just a little more know-how to finally have or earn the right to have a big head. That we want to justify having a big head when we actually do something to justify that. When I actually reach the peak, then I can gloat. Because we're associating, please stick with me here. We're associating putting ourselves out there with gloating, being prideful, being self-promoting, and telling people that we can do something that maybe we're not quite sure ourselves that we can do, or we don't want to intimidate people, or we don't want to be judged by them, or we don't want to experience maybe some of the judgment that has come in our lives when we have put ourselves out there. And if you're somebody like me, you have, which I believe if you're listening to this, you are, you've had experiences where you have gone after your dreams, given it all you got, and then pride snuck in and you might have hurt some people. You might have made some mistakes. You might have done some things that you regret. You weren't quite connected with other people. And that happens when we are not fully connected in ourselves, with loving ourselves in a healthy way. And I know that some of you, maybe if you grew up with a Christian background, that phrase of loving yourself may even trigger you to say, oh, that's a bad thing. I want to speak to that. If that's you, God loves you, so you need to love you the same level that he does. And realize and believe the same thing about you that God says about you. Listen, this is not to go out there and say, look at me, I'm all that and a bag of chips, and you should buy from me. But you have to have that level of belief inside of you when you go out there for you to accomplish your goals. And many times we've seen people before where they show all of their accolades and all of that and self-promoting, and they're very successful. And maybe we've made a judgment that, well, I don't want to be like that unless I at least have something to prove, something to show that I'm that good. That was the judgment that I had made for a long time, that I was afraid to put out there the level of success that I had had. 17 years of helping businesses, starting when I was like 19 years old. Starting when I was actually 15 years old. The first time I helped a business owner make $1 million when I was 17. With my skill that I had. And I knew that I can be successful. I knew that when people work with me, their profit margins go up. Their results go up 5, 10 times with the strategy that I bring forward to the table for getting in front of the target customer, speaking and communicating to the people that are ready to buy, and converting an interested party into a closed sale. And I know that I have that ability, but I was afraid to even put that out there and let people know that for fear of how they might judge me or say, well, where's the, the proof? Where's the case studies of that? Where's the accolades for all that experience that you have, Jeremiah? I had these beliefs in my head. Well, if you've helped so many people, why are you still doing this that you're doing right now? These are the beliefs that I had that were keeping me held back and struggling. And it was because I wasn't being honest with myself about where I'm at right now, my own personal growth journey, and humbling myself to say, you know what? I've helped a lot of people, but I was also very codependent. I always needed somebody else to promote and was actually afraid to promote myself and put myself out there. I was always the behind the scenes guy, coming up with the ideas, coming up with the strategy, but was afraid to actually put my stuff out there for people to grab onto. And you might say, well, if you're that good, why would you ever be afraid to put yourself out there? This is what I was afraid that people would say. And actually, I had people saying this to me before. And it was these thoughts that I would start spinning in my head, these lies of, well, maybe you're really not that good because you haven't promoted yourself yet. And 2 years ago, when I went into business for myself, last year, if you've been following me, I started this podcast, was literally the first time that I ever put myself as a brand out there in 16 years. And I'm so thankful that I finally did. And I had to work and learn in a personal development journey how to do so properly to connect with people. I was really still focused on, for probably the first year, validating myself to people, trying to prove that I could do what I said that I could do, because my level of belief in myself wasn't there. And the shift happened when I started believing in myself. And then all my content completely turned a new page. It was literally like we closed a chapter on the old part of my life and opened up a new one. When my belief level in myself went up, all of my content became about my customers. And this is what I tell people is you have to become obsessed with your customers for you to get more sales. You have to become obsessed with the results that your customers are going to get for you to reach your goals that you know are possible in business. For you to get what you want, more sales, more the lifestyle that you want, you have to know and become obsessed, eat, sleep, live, and breathe your customers. Not to the point that you neglect your family relationships, by the way. Not to the point that you neglect your health, your personal development. Those come first. The formula is that when we start to believe in ourselves, two things happen. We project that energy of our personal belief in ourselves. And when we come to the table in a business interaction, we show other people, you know what? I believe in you too. And I know that it's possible for you to reach your goals. And I want to tell you that right now, if you're listening to this podcast, anybody who's listening to this episode that got to this point in this podcast, I believe in you. And I know that you're somebody that is like I was, trying to reach your goals. And nothing is impossible for you in this moment because you have the tenacity to press through, to listen, to learn, to grow. You're coachable and you're teachable. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten 18 and a half minutes into this episode. How do I know that? Because working with people, the people that don't get that far probably aren't there yet. Okay? So I want you to pat yourself on the back a little bit listening to this right now. You have what it takes to get to the next level. Are you doing it the right way yet? Some of you are. Some of you, it could be better. For many of you, you're looking for a strategy to get a slight edge advantage in the marketplace. And that's what it is you have to become obsessed with your customers. You have to become obsessed with their goals. Come from a place of belief in yourself, the solutions that you offer. You have to have belief in what you're selling. You have to know that it works. We're not talking about selling crap or snake oil here. You have to know that it works. And so then when you come to the table, and when I say come to the table, podcasts, social media posts, emails, sales pages, marketing materials, strategy, offers. When you start working with a coach that can motivate you and help you get to the next level by telling you the things that you need to hear, not just what you want to hear, but the things that you need to hear to help give you swift kick in the butt sometimes. When you have that belief level and you become obsessed with your target customer, it resonates with people because they know that you care about what they are going through, what they are experiencing. And so then every single message that you put out from that place, that's why I really dive deep in this podcast about mindset. That's why I really push hard on that. And I'm going to tell you, this podcast is a university for you of growing in your mindset. If you go through these episodes, you're going to have the right mindset and belief level in your business. You don't need to go through them all in order, but you can look through the titles, you can look through the descriptions and see which ones resonate and stand out to you. And each one's like a mini course, a mini lesson for you to grow in that unique area. When you come to the table with that level of belief in what you can bring to the table, that you know with conviction that you can deliver on the promises that you make to yourself. That's why it's so important to develop trust with yourself in these interactions. When you know that you can deliver to people, that level of conviction comes across and you become unstoppable in your marketing, in your sales copy, in your offers, in your emails, in every single action and interaction that you have with people. You are projecting the energy that I have it going on and I know what it's going to take to help you get to the next level with the solutions that I offer. And that's the level of conviction that you need to get to, is that one. How do you get there? By growing in that mindset and belief in yourself, and by taking actions, by implementation, by not just letting it be a great idea that you overthink about, not just a great idea on a piece of paper, not just a strategy, but actually going to work and doing the work that you need to do. Now, what happens is we get into these state of minds, and what I also want to talk about is a flow state with you. I haven't talked about a flow state with very many people before, but I'm going to bring that into this episode here while we kind of tie all together. When you can learn to connect with people authentically, people can read and tell that you're being real with them. When you watch me, you can tell that I'm being real in these messages that I'm giving you. These aren't scripted. I got some notes here that I'm reading just to kind of keep me on track. But these aren't things that I'm just reading or trying to say stuff to sell you anything. This is like we're having a real conversation. It's like I'm kicked back. I'm sitting here. This is an authentic conversation. Whenever I get on a call with people, when they schedule those free 15-minute strategy calls that I have that you can schedule on my website and get a free 15 minutes where you and I go over your goals and where you're stuck together. And if you haven't done that, I highly recommend it. That's you and I talking about where you're at, your goals, like I'm talking to a friend. The way that you are going to reach your target customers, once you have that belief level in yourself, you have to build trust and rapport with people to the level that you have with a friend. Anytime you interact with somebody, that's the goal, is building trust and rapport. And we do that by showing people that we're trustworthy, by being trustworthy, by delivering on the promises that we say, and by being confident to write it down, to put it on paper, to put it in a video, to put it in a podcast, to not shrink back, to not hold back what we know that we can do. I saw a post today on social media. I forget who posted it, but it was really inspiring, and I wanted to share it with you. Man, it was good. It said something along the lines of, does your level of experience on paper match the results that you produce? If not, then you have to get your results up to match on paper. Simultaneously, it also said, does your level of results that you show and market to people on paper match the results that you can produce? And that was my issue that I was experiencing, is I was afraid to put out there the level of results that I could help people with. I was afraid to make it look like I was too prideful. And as soon as that belief level in myself came across, I started putting stuff out there, selling products and services that were helping people. The testimonies I hear from people that buy my social media ads course are incredible. The people that buy my website building course are incredible. I believe both of those courses are the very best courses on the internet right now about making social media ads and building a website with Squarespace. The testimonials are great. The clients that I coach saying that I'm helping them get results. Clients that I consult, helping them get results. 6, 7, and 8 figures in results consistently. And that's what I've done with business owners for the last 17 years. And so that belief and conviction level is what comes across in copywriting, in the sales copy. That builds trust. That's only part of the trust equation, though. We have to also start to develop some case studies. We have to start to put some stuff out there. I see often people that have a lot of skill, a lot of value to put out there, and they're waiting until they create the perfect product to launch in their market because they don't want to mess it up and ruin the first impression. And so they're allowing that fear of that first impression to keep them playing small. Instead of putting something out there, serving their audience, and then building more resources as they move forward. Building more resources to serve people. Your market, when you ask them questions, will start to tell you what they need. You ever wonder why I do those 15-minute calls? I'm hearing from my market, what do they need help with? I'm hearing from my audience, what do they need help with? When I do those group coaching calls in my group, I'm hearing from people, what does my audience need help with? And then, boom, I go to work and produce it. And all of my products and services are customer driven based on what my audience is saying. Every single company on the planet Earth that has gotten results has done so by listening to the needs of their target customer and anticipating what they need even before they ask it. Apple did this with their iPhone. They anticipated that we would want that technology in our pocket, and it revolutionized an industry because we had 5 different devices that were doing that already. That's how they knew that that was going to sell, because they realized everybody leaves their house with a bag with them that has a camera, an MP3 player, a phone, and sometimes a contact book and a notepad, and so and maybe even a Palm Pilot for the internet. So they put all those into one device. How did they know that the market wanted that? Because everybody was already doing all those things on one device, and then they incrementally added 1 or 2 new features every single year by listening to the requests and the feedback that came in from their customers. Amazon does the same thing. The listings on Amazon, the products that are sold are based on what customers are asking for. Your favorite brands all do this. Every single successful business owner does this. And sometimes I talk with people, they say, well, I want to help people in this way that they need, so I don't want to give them what they want because that's not going to serve them. If you can give people what they want, you can build trust and rapport to then give them what they need. That's the process. And that's how you bring transformation to the world around you and impact people with the message that you have on your heart and impact people with what is inside of you. We give people what they want, what they're asking for. My Facebook ads course, my website building course. I have an upcoming course that I'm going to be releasing soon, more on the topic of building offers. The things that people want, I deliver to people. And then a lot of people I work with, they take it to the next level and hire me for one-on-one coaching, which is what they need. They need that more specialized, hands-on experience to craft things in a unique way as a trainer, as a mentor, as a coach, kind of like almost even like a tutor to help people each step along the way. That's what I love helping people with. And that's the process that I use to get customers. Now, no matter what your product or service is, if you can find the needs of your audience that they're asking you for constantly, and you start delivering on those needs that they have for free, you'll build that trust and rapport to then when it comes time to have a conversation with them about what they need. When you deliver those wants, what they want, when you start delivering what they want, what they're asking you for, that trust and rapport is built for you to sell them what they need. And you want to know what most people just want? They just want to know that somebody understands them. Somebody cares enough to say, I see you, I know what you're going through, I know what you're experiencing, and I'm listening to you. And I hear what is happening in your life. Especially network marketers. If you're in network marketing, this is where the whole kind of function of FORM came from. Family, occupation, recreation, message. Because you're able to listen, you're able to hear people, you're able to hear patterns in their emotions, in the feedback, in how you can impact them in that level. And when you learn this, when you talk with enough people, when you make enough content, when you have enough conversations with people, you know how to deliver to people what they need and what they want on a level that grabs them on a deep heart connection level to get them to take action effectively. And that's what I love helping people with and love coaching people on. And that's what I'm going to be making another podcast episode on here in the next week or so, is on that topic as well, is about communicating and connecting in a way, not just communicating, but connecting. There's a great book that I read by John Maxwell called Everybody Communicates, Few Connect. Everybody communicates, few connect. Yep. What the most effective people do differently. And it talks about how the biggest thing that's lacking in interactions with people to lead people is making that deep heart connection with them. Making that connection to where we can then lead people to what is going to help them get a result. What is going to help them reach their goals better. Every time I do these podcasts, my goal is to take my audience and lead them to what is going to help them get results. What's going to help you get results in your business. What's going to help you produce more sales in your business by getting better, up-leveling your skill, up-leveling your game. And I'm telling you, that book, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect, is going to up-level a lot of you. If you're listening to this right now, you've gotten 32 minutes into this episode, you're the type of person that book is written for. Okay? I promise you that. It is so good. Now, the last thing that I want to get into here is what I talked about, a flow state. Is many times when we are afraid of making a mistake, afraid of it not working out, afraid of failure, afraid of getting too big of a head, or we don't want to make too big of claims, or we don't want to repeat a mistake or pattern in the past, or maybe we don't want to put ourselves out there till we have everything perfect, right? These all come at a root of fear and a root of needing to perform. Need to perform perfectly. When our need to perform becomes a greater goal than serving people, helping people, giving it our best shot, and being authentic. And the first of all of those is being authentic. Not trying to be authentic, but being authentic. You actually can't fake authenticity. That's the truth about that. You can't pretend enough or perform enough or act enough to fake authenticity. You either have it or you don't. And people can read and tell which one it is. When you come across with content, with sales messages, with interactions with people, when we're so worried about not doing all the right things, we hinder our creative ability when it comes to connecting with people, when it comes to communicating powerfully. Because the part of our brain that's focused on fear is so focused on avoiding making mistakes that it actually shuts off the part of our brain that fires all of this creative energy and excitement that happens when we get into a flow state. Now, what is a flow state? It's kind of a lack of worry and fear, a lack of caring about how everything could go wrong. It's when you're in the zone. It's when you are not distracted. There's actually 7 aspects of a flow state that I just looked this up. And this is on Wikipedia right here. It's called a flow condition. It's when you know what to do, you know how to do it, you know how well you're doing, you know where to go, you know the high stakes challenges, you know the skills needed, and you are free from all distractions simultaneously. So when I record these podcasts, I'm generally in a flow state because I know what I'm doing, how I'm doing, I know how well it is, I know the challenges, I know where I'm going, the skills needed, and the freedom from distractions. And so this is like what a flow state looks like, is being able to flow, not being afraid of messing up and making a mistake. And that's, I believe everybody can get there. And we often have certain experiences in our life that we are in flow states of, that we are at that place. Think of the thing that you are most confident that you can do well in your life. Think about whether it's playing music, sewing, drawing, playing with a dog, everybody, driving a car. When you're driving a car, that is what a flow state feels like. And so what you want to get to, and it actually happens by letting go of the need for everything to be perfect. That's why I say so often you need to embrace imperfect action, because it will actually work out a lot better, is when we let go of the need for it all being perfect. Remember when you took driver's ed, learned how to drive, very nervous. You were trying to do all the things perfectly, and you weren't that good of a driver. But as soon as you kind of got used to it, let your guard down, you actually got a lot better at it, and were a lot safer at the same time. They find this is the flow state that a lot of surgeons go into, and fighter pilots, and race car drivers, and sports players, is where the work actually becomes fun, and it's no longer work. We have to do the hard work to get to that point. Absolutely. But when we grow in that level of confidence and belief in ourselves, and we have clarity on what we're doing and where we're going and how to do it and what to do, we can more easily get into that state of no longer second guessing if I'm doing the right thing going here or doing the wrong thing going here. And if you're not somebody that's ever experienced that, where you never second guessed yourself, I was somebody that really never lived my life or experienced never second guessing myself. I constantly second guessed everything in my life. And so I didn't know how to cultivate that flow state on a consistent basis. If you're somebody that has not experienced that regularly, you might say, well, that's unsafe. That's not wisdom. That's not wise. That's what I thought. But I want you to think about those areas in your life where you really have a level of confidence in, like I said, like driving a car. You know that you're not actively like white knuckle focused on that thing. And if you are still at this point, those are some areas that maybe you need to get some help, some therapy in some of that anxiety, some of that white knuckle fear, where it's hard to kind of tap into that. Sometimes that's tied to a certain trauma in our past or experiences. That'll help you. But when you learn what you need to learn, you practice at it. This is why I tell people to start doing videos every single day. And video is one of the fastest ways that I know of for people that are creating courses, influencers, speakers, authors, and teachers to learn a flow state, is by doing a daily video every single day. And that's what helped me. In about 6 months of doing that, I was having a flow state every time I did a video. It became very easy. In the beginning, I was second guessing every single word that I said. Super nervous. Every time I did a video, and this is a little tip for you, I always had little sticky notes next to my camera with points. And you know what? I still do that. I actually have right here on my whiteboard some sticky notes. You see those? They're in a row there. It's because I was going through about 8 different points on a video that I had to do in 3 minutes. So it was reminding me of what I was going to say. In the beginning, I started doing that. I started giving myself the grace to not have to be perfect. When I needed it all to be perfect, I couldn't get into that state of mind of excellence, of giving it my best, of flowing and operating at that highest level of potential. Now, why am I talking about this? Because when it comes to communicating and connecting with people for your sales copy, when it comes to creating products and services, when it comes to making social media content and advertisements and being authentic, authenticity happens when we're in those flow states. It's a natural kind of side effect of it. When we're in a flow state, it's purely authentic. Okay? And so that's why you can't fake a flow state or authenticity. It just happens. And it happens by letting go of that fear, letting go of that anxiety, having belief in yourself, having that level of confidence in yourself to grow and to know that where you're going, what you're doing is going to work and produce results. And you start to communicate from that perspective by connecting with the hearts and the minds of the people that you're talking to, and you can sell whatever it is that you're selling with your social media content, with your posts, with your ads, with your landing pages, with your offers, with your products, and develop with confidence new offers and products that are going to serve people in that way. And so learning how to do this, there's a lot more research out there. Again, I'm not an expert in the topic of flow. I just know for me, that's how I got into it. And one of the ways that I've hacked myself to do that, kind of a little mind hack, is I would go do something that I knew that I was confident in, such as playing the piano or driving my car or walking my dogs or playing a video game. These are little kind of fun things that I like to do. For you, it could be different. It could be sewing. It could be reading a book. It could be riding a horse. Will get you into that state of confidence. Could be playing with your cat and your dog before you go and make your products, write your sales copy, create your social media videos, get on those sales calls. Do these things to get your level of belief and excitement and happiness up. That's why we talk about you need to have that level of happiness elevated when you go into things. Whenever I'm making this podcast, I have to make sure that I'm in the right mental state of mind. Anytime that I'm making a advertisement, I have to make sure that I'm in the right state of mind to deliver with excellence what I'm going to bring forward. And so I hack it by I'll go play my piano or I'll go do something that I'm confident in that I've done for a long time in my life to kind of hack myself into that flow state temporarily, and then I'll go into that work. I give myself the grace. I use a lot of notepads to keep myself on track when I'm teaching anything. Whenever I'm coaching people, I constantly have a notepad with me, writing notes down and ideas for what we're talking about. And I keep a log of some of this stuff too in my head, and I'm able to even look back at the analytics and the data on my social media to see what topics are people resonating with the most. And so when you do this, when you learn what you need to do, when you listen through my podcast, you're going to learn ways for you to grow and enter into confidence in doing these aspects of your business. And if you want some help with this, this is what I would love to help coach you on, is how to grow in the confidence that you know that the actions that you're taking are the right ones, that you know that the path that you're taking in your business is the right path, that you know that the decisions that you're making for your business growth are going to work and get results. And that's what I coach people with, is from a high level, is helping strategize together. We work together for your unique business on how to get you results. You don't need to have your whole business together either for us to get started on this. You don't need to have all the pieces together first. We can help put those together while we work together. And so if that's something that you want to do, schedule a free 15-minute call with me on my website. Go over to jeremiahkrakowski.com/free call. Put in your name and email address and pick a time for us to talk. I'd love to work with you. Talk about what you're going through, where you're stuck. Let me know what this inspired in you. If you're not ready for that, head on over to the #GrowYourLife Facebook group and just let me know. Like, if you could wave a magic wand in your business, what would be the number one thing that you wish that you could do, that you need to learn, that you need to grow in? If you don't want to put that publicly, you could send me a DM and let me know too. And if you want to win a free 30-minute coaching call, this is different than the 15-minute one on my website, but a 30-minute one for free. You can leave #GrowYourLife on my Instagram, on any post in the comments on my Instagram, and I pick one winner every single week on Sunday to win a free 30-minute coaching call with me. Listen, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you've gotten to this point in this podcast, you have what it takes to be successful. You are good enough. It's time for you to start to step up to the game in your life. It's time to get off the sideline. It's time to get on the court and start doing the work, putting in the work to grow, to reach your goals. It's possible. It might look like a daunting giant elephant for you to do, to eat, but you have to take it one step at a time by putting one foot in front of the other every single day. When you do this, you grow and you can reach your goals. With consistency, results happen. I believe in you. Grow your life, everybody, and we'll talk soon.